Hello and welcome to another edition of Inside the Burrow, the FAU podcast for and by fans. My name is Dan. I am joined, as usual, by Shane and Jack. And today we are going to break down FAU's frustrating loss to Georgia Southern this past weekend. We'll talk a little bit about we'll talk about this week's opponent, Southern Miss, and maybe dig a little bit into some potential ways, or really the way, that FAU can win the East and potentially go to the Conference USA Championship game. So we've got a lot to dig into. So we'll go ahead and get started. And this game, I'm sure for lots of Owl fans, really just was just extremely frustrating. Obviously, FAU lost 20-3, and just really the offense was. I think we'll spend the majority of our time talking about that. Javion Posey, for all of his athleticism and gifts athletically, he just really struggled, and just completing basic passes was such a struggle, and Georgia Southern knew that. And again, this is, I think, another example of teams getting more and more film on him and seeing what doesn't work. So I think there's definitely some things to look at moving forward. And, Tronti came in and moved the ball well in the second half, but, it may have been a little bit too little too late. So, Shane, you mentioned in your takeaways that it should be Tronti time for the next two games. And I was, hesitant in the first half. I kind of tweeted out that didn't need to happen. But Posey's habit of turning over the ball, really, I think is one of the biggest things, and not completing basic passes. So what are, certainly Tronti time, Nick Tronti for the next two games seems like FAU's best option. But I don't know, what were your thoughts regarding this game?
Yeah, I think in the end, I understand trying to stick with the young quarterback, let him work through things. But, I thought after the first fumble, that Posey should have been pulled. I mean, this is his third straight fumble, and it's 3 games, I believe. He doesn't protect the ball really when he runs, and for all the criticism of Nick Tronti, he only has 1 interception on the year. And if we only have 3 turnovers in that game, we could end up winning it. We were moving the ball. We had over 350 yards, I think, or close to that of total offense. So it's not like it was completely inept. There was a couple times where they got some jet sweeps going and they got some other plays going. And, it just ended so abruptly. I mean, the deep pass over the middle the one that was picked off in the end zone was just, that was just hitting the X button on in Madden and just not looking. It was just, I don't know. It was just, it was a basic single high safety. And there was just some frustration with it. Hats off to the defense for playing the triple option well. I know Georgia Southern was out some guys, but that's, that kind of offense is a little plug and play. And, they did everything they can. Also, what's happened to the special teams? Missed field goal. That was kind of a log field goal, but now they've allowed a punt return after the last game they played. There was a blocked punt. So it seems like some of the little things are getting away from them. And just, I don't know what the answer is. I would like to maybe see some sort of, I don't know what the backups are, some sort of adjustment on that O-line. Something has to, there's some inconsistencies there. They're young. Weber's been new at center all year. Federico Mangris is still a very young player, but the center of that O-line and sometimes the timing, it seems like anytime they try and go fast, they can never get set. Somebody starts early. So it's just, there's a lot of little things they're just not doing right now.
Yeah, I agree with you, Shane. I definitely think that the little things are hurting the team. Penalties included a little bit in Georgia Southern. There were some untimely penalties, like, a couple false starts again on the line. One on TJ Chase, which was very strange. I think that was like a 4th down play as well. 3rd or 4th down, I can't remember.
Mm-hmm. It was a 4th down. They tried to hurry up and get under center after failing the first time on a quarterback power and just do a quick QB sneak, which was smart. You see teams do that all the time. For the bad play, quote unquote, bad play call people, but they didn't execute something basic.
Yeah, and that falls in the line again. But the thing that I really want to hammer home is the turnovers, because Coach Taggart in the pressers leading up to the game said that the biggest thing is preventing turnovers, protecting the ball. I mean, he said it's really, 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 really. I'm not sure how many reallys there were, but apparently it was about 10 reallys. And he said it not just once, the 10 reallys, but he said it 2 or 3 times. So 30 reallys in total, important to not turn the ball over. And then that's exactly what the team did. I mean, we were looking like Grant Wells and Marshall out there with so many turnovers.
Yeah.
That being said, though, I mean, it just still, it's not only the turnovers, because Posey is still the leading rusher on the team. It's not
which
just
is concerning, which is
it is
even more what I wrote about. That's why.
it's the running back depth is. I mean, God, could you imagine if we only had one running back going into the season, how screwed we'd be? But now we've lost about everybody. The O-line is struggling to garner push in the rushing attack. And then the crazy thing is when you see Tronte come in. All right, listen. Posey came in against Western Kentucky because Coach Taggart said he provides a spark. When Tronte came in, what happened? FAU offense had their best drive all game long.
Both of the drives.
Until a really bright fumble right when FAU entered Georgia Southern's 20-yard line. So Tronte now seems to be the one that's providing that spark. And a little bit of a Driscoll.
Why not use both?
Interceptions either. So
you knew heading into that game, Georgia State, you weren't going to out triple option Georgia State. Okay, you weren't going to out read option them. You weren't going to out quarterback power them. Yes, there's some basic things. But again, they see that every day. They see good running backs. They see a line. They see Tronte's the better passer. We even saw it against UMass. He came in for a drive or a few plays, and we ended up scoring in the red zone there. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
In that situation, right now, I think the best scenario for the quarterback is use Tronte. And if you still want to play Javion Posey in special situations and create packages for him, because then the defense just can't key on him keeping it 90% of the time, or just running around, feeling pressure's not there and just chucking the ball up. I mean, the ball that he threw to Jordan Merrill on the deep pass, that was in double coverage. Jordan Merrill made an amazing play, but that's a ball that also should have been picked.
That was a risk.
The fumbling is what gets me. I mean, you're a running quarterback, and you fumbled against FIU, you fumbled against UMass. You fumbled in FIU in your own territory on a quarterback run. You're not even doing the things you should do as a running quarterback.
And he's nearly fumbled multiple times as well. I mean, like, you can just see it's not going to take much for the ball
he
to
holds
come out
that
when he
ball
runs.
out. It's just it's very elementary stuff. And if turnovers are so important, right? You have faith in your skill players. Just go with the quarterback that doesn't turn the ball over. Again, especially against Georgia Southern, whose weakness is their secondary. And, again, I felt like Tronte was played a little earlier, but, this was, in the end, this game doesn't theoretically mean anything. It means nothing in the standings. Yeah, you'd like to win them all. You'd like to get a win over the Sun Belt. But I guess, trying to work through it with your young quarterback was the goal. And I understand you don't want to be quick and pull them on every little mistake so they feel like, oh, if I make one mistake, I'm out of here, right? You want them to relax and play. So, but, it just became too much in that game.
Yeah, and again, it's frustrating just because, like, it wouldn't have taken much offensive success for us to win the game. I mean, especially with how well the defense was playing. So it's, again, it's like you said, Shane, it means very little. So that could have been why Taggart left him in there for longer. Let him finish out the half and then start the next half, just to see what they're doing. To, like, okay, we're going to keep this going. Maybe he gets some rhythm. If this is a conference game, maybe not. So I don't know.
And as we get ready to pivot towards Southern Miss, it does seem like Coach Taggart and the players did know about what happened with Marshall before the Georgia Southern game. and did know that Charlotte was rescheduled in place of FIU, because in the post-game conference, I straight up asked Coach Taggart, "No, you're not going to like it, but this game didn't really matter much." And he didn't like that I said that, but he basically agreed that the grand scheme of things, conference is what's more important, so the team has to regroup.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Even smiled when he saw how Marshall lost.
Yeah, but we got to take care of business Thursday.
Or
Southern Miss is a team who is probably, I don't want to say hit hardest by COVID, but just the scenario of 2020. For FAU fans that don't know, before the season, they had multiple opt-outs, multiple players enter the portal. I mean, a few of the really good players on defense, they are on their third head coach of the year. They fired their head coach after one game, and then the interim head coach took a job at Austin Peay, where they start their season in the spring. So he left. Quarterback Jack Abraham told the team he wasn't going to be playing anymore. I think he wanted to remain and stay with the team. That's kind of a weird story. And then the team told him, no, if you're not going to play, you can't be around us. So he's like, I'm entering the portal. I guess that's kind of the maybe off Reader's Digest version of that story.
That story is hilarious, though. It's my favorite.
Yeah, it's just they've had maybe the most crazy year. But despite that, they've still hung around in a lot of Conference USA games. I was looking at them, and you expect this team to just fall apart. I mean, they almost beat UTSA 2 weeks ago. And if you look at UTSA since we played them, they're playing really good football. They're probably actually maybe the hottest team in Conference USA right now. They've kind of really got it. And it helps when you get to play the west side of that conference or a few consecutive games. But, yeah, they almost hung around and beat UTSA.
They almost beat Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, and that Rice loss they had, doesn't look as bad. So, if we go in there, and anytime you're a team where the offense struggles, you're always in one of these close games. And anytime you're in a close game, just a ball bounce here or there, a blocked field goal, a bad pass interference call, or something doesn't go their way, then all of a sudden Southern Miss starts feeling good about themselves. And again, Malcolm Davidson's not playing. BJ Emmons is out. If James Charles, Mr. Reliable, but he's not going to bring that explosiveness that, we probably need. I was also curious in this game that seeing Daniel LeConte get carries ahead of Kelvin Dean, which was somewhat surprising to me. So, this is a game they have to go, and that offense has to be clicking in the first quarter.
Yeah, I think, and like you mentioned in the takeaways, I think it's time to start Tronti, just because he just gives you more options, even if they are limited passing options. He gives you more options, and being able to throw Posey in there at the end. I mean, or in different situations, it's kind of like if you have two quarterbacks, you really don't have one quarterback. But in this situation, we saw the two quarterback system work well for FAU in the past. And you had your main starter, obviously, which was Robinson, but there were packages for Tronti, and I think we can kind of do the same thing. Just like we mentioned earlier in the year, where we said that Posey can be the Nick Tronti of the Chris Robinson era. So this game, their two wins are over North Texas and Northern Alabama. So they've really struggled, and they've had the most 2020 season out of all of us, out of all of Conference USA. So again, it's an opportunity for us to go in and finish with a very good conference record, and we'll talk a little about some of the scenarios of what we can get to the Conference USA championship game. But I don't know, Jack, what are you thinking about this game?
I'm going to take a different approach from Shane here. I know he's nervous. He sees that Southern Miss has hung in with their opponents recently, a couple good ones like UTSA and now Western Kentucky, who doesn't seem all that bad after blowing out Charlotte on Sunday. That being said, I mean, this is the FIU of the West right now. This complete dumpster fire, shambolic of a season. If we don't win this game by 21 plus, then we don't deserve to be going to the Conference USA championship game, period. If we can't beat a 2-win team like this and say, again, say what you want about the season that they had and the adversity that they've shown by hanging in these games, if we want to be the best, we have to start acting like the best. And that's what worries me more about Georgia Southern than anything else. I've been on the boat, and I said this even before kickoff in Statesboro, that this game doesn't matter. But the way how the game happened, it does not inspire me. It does not inspire confidence going into Thursday. So that's why I'm looking to get some of that confidence back. We need to blow them out. Shane did say we need to score early. I agree with him there 110%. We're going to have to score early, and we're going to have to score a lot. Their defense, USM's defense, nothing to really write home about. They gave up 66 points to Tulane, for God's sakes. But the thing is, we're not really able to find an identity on offense, and that's what we've been saying for months now. If we're not able to find identity, we can't score. So we're going to have to rely on our defense again to shut down Frank Gore Jr., which I think we will, because we're great at stopping the run. But there's going to have to be some sort of spark on offense. And I don't know if it's Tronte. God, I don't know if it's really right out of the Wildcat all game long. But something is going to have to happen. And if we can't find that spark, then screw it. It doesn't matter what happens in the rest of Conference USA between Charlotte and Marshall on the following day.
I think giving the defense the kind of breathing room. If we go up 10-0, I feel pretty confident, because the defense doesn't. I think won't play as stressed out, or maybe that'll make them. Play worse, because they don't feel like they have to be perfect.
Yeah, good point. Chase Lassiter can go off for another career best in tackles. Dude was everywhere.
Yeah. And I mean, and I said this a couple weeks ago. Like we could do a whole show on this year's defense, and maybe we will. Just on how historically good this defense has been, even with the opt-outs that we've had. So, I guess as Jack kind of pointed out, there is really one scenario where FAU still can make the Conference USA championship game, and it's shades of last year, where Marshall is currently in first place in the East. If they beat Charlotte this week, then they're in. But if Charlotte pulls the upset like they did last year, and FAU takes care of business against Southern Miss, we would be in the Conference USA championship game. So I think that's still kind of cool to be playing for something in this year, in a frustrating year, and when we're figuring things out. It still would be kind of cool to end up in the championship game, kind of like we'd be like UAB last year, where they just kind of like fell into the championship game because everything got messed up in the West. So
it would be more of not so much like the past couple of years where we've got a Conference USA title where we were just rolling through the conference and we were obviously the best team. If we did it this year, it's somehow if Chris Reynolds manages to beat Marshall again for us, I'm all for putting
we're retiring his
FAU Ring of Honor.
Yeah,
yeah, like he will become like he would. I'm all for on it. Like Chris Reynolds would become an honorary Al. Okay, so. But if we did it in this year, a year again, new coaching staff, COVID, everything, obviously working some kinks out, and we did it this year and found a way that we kind of, I guess, stumbled our way into a championship when it was just a week ago, Marshall's quote unquote dream season. And if we took that away from him and we're like, yo, it was like almost like, bro, we weren't even trying this one. You know what I mean? We were missing guys. Like, this just wasn't our year. We still won this. Oh my God. You have never have a chance. It would be, they would probably fire. I mean, their fans would fully be, Doc Holliday's done. I've already seen that. So I would get more enjoyment out of their pain than almost us kind of stumbling our way into a Conference USA title.
The crazy thing to me is that Charlotte actually had a chance of winning the East as well. That is before they were upset at home to Western Kentucky on Sunday. Yeah, a Sunday game. That's how crazy 2020 has been. And that's also why Conference USA on Saturday, following Marshall's loss to Rice, canceled the Marshall FIU game and replaced that with the Marshall-Charlotte. That way Charlotte, it'd be fair for them to play their way in. They choked that game away. Still, we have a chance to make it happen. That's all thanks to our Owl brothers in Houston, Texas. Rice, I mean, none of us thought they could do it, and they did it. So that's great. Intellectual brutality. Get the hashtag trending. I love it. So if we can just find a way to prevent Marshall from tying us in conference championships, like Shane said, even when we don't deserve it, when we're not even trying, I'm all for it. At that point, I would be okay not winning the conference championship game to UAB or UTSA, just so Marshall fans can just have to live with the horror of how much they choke all the time. Shane, the word is schadenfreude, getting a pleasure out of the misfortune of others. And seeing how Marshall fans just treat everyone, but especially us, that would be a cherry on top for a pretty rough 2020. I love it, though. After they lost, we're over here laughing at them because we now have a shot of winning the division, and they say, "Oh, you're 1-7 against us," and it's like, where is that banner? Like, are you gonna hang that banner up somewhere? Because we have Conference USA Championship banners that we're hanging up. So I mean, if you want to hang that banner up, that 1-7 banner, then go ahead. But that means we're not relevant. That means that this is your Super Bowl. So congratulations on winning your Super Bowl. You still don't have trophies for it. Just saying that. I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. So this, that kind of hope that clears some things up for everybody. And again, it's 2020. It's a year where you just kind of have to, you just got to roll with the punches as much as you can. And hopefully FAU can do that and potentially roll right into the conference championship game. And so this, we're getting this show out a little early this week because we do have an early game. Quick turnaround this week. FAU plays Southern Miss 7:30 Eastern time on Thursday. So Thursday night kickoff. And so we will, as always, we'll be here next week to bring you the breakdown of everything. And as always, make sure you check us out on FAUOwlsNest.com, on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts.
Fans, real quick, guys, Wednesday, the 16th is the early signing period. So a week. Just over a week. FAU will be signing some of its 2021 class that day. Also, fans, just look, things are going to get busy. Over 300 kids in the portal right now. I think just 30, like something now, like 35 quarterbacks. With seniors and probably the one-time transfer rule becoming a thing. Guys, we have college football free agency. That's just the reality of what it's going to be, which is fine. Sometimes things change in the game, and in the end, when the season starts, you have players in the field. I think it's an advantage for FAU being in Florida, but so there'd be a lot of roster news in the coming weeks.
Yeah, definitely being in Florida, since other schools recruit South Florida, especially so heavy, we kind of have that fortune of bringing kids back home, bringing players back home. So that could be a big benefit for us in the future. So that is a week from this Wednesday. So that should be an exciting time, as it always is. So as always, we appreciate you guys joining us, and we will see you next time. Go Owls.